Zainab had always known poverty. Raised by her mother in a small, run-down neighborhood, every day was a struggle. She had learned to live without many things others took for granted, like a warm meal or a comfortable bed. But everything changed when she received a letter from her father, whom she had never met. Her estranged father, a wealthy politician, had learned about her existence and wanted to bring her into his life. With no other options, Zainab packed her bags and left behind the only life she knew. She arrived at her father's mansion, a vast building with high walls and endless rooms. It was overwhelming. The luxury she now found herself surrounded by was nothing like what she had imagined. Her father, a tall man with a stern face, greeted her with open arms. However, despite all the riches, Zainab felt a deep sense of emptiness. The mansion was beautiful, but there was no warmth, no love, no connection. She had gained wealth, but it seemed that she had lost something even more important in the process. At first, Zainab marveled at the luxuries that filled her new home. Her room was enormous, with a bed bigger than any she had ever slept on. The clothes in her closet were expensive and colorful, unlike the dull hand-me-downs from her childhood. Her father's housekeeper showed her how to use all the modern gadgets and appliances, and Zainab felt like she was living in a dream. Yet, as days turned into weeks, the emptiness inside her heart grew. She spent her days alone in the mansion. Her father, though kind, was always busy with his political duties and had little time for her. The house seemed too quiet, and the grand halls only made her feel smaller. She tried to make friends with other people in the city, but many were either intimidated by her wealth or only wanted to be near her for their own gain. Zainab longed for true connection, something she had never had in her life. She began to wonder if wealth was really all it was cracked up to be. Zainab's loneliness deepened as she spent more time in the mansion. Her father's absence left her to face the quiet halls on her own. She met some of his friends, wealthy people with dazzling cars and expensive clothes, but they only saw her as the daughter of a rich politician. They didn't seem interested in who she was, only in what she represented. Zainab couldn't help but feel out of place. She had come from a world of struggle, where everyone knew each other and helped one another. But here, in the world of wealth, everyone seemed distant, cold, and self-centered. She began to feel like an outsider, even in her own home. The loneliness became unbearable, and she started to question if the money was worth it. Was this the life she had dreamed of? Or had she traded one kind of misery for another? One day, while shopping in the city, Zainab met a girl named Sandra. Sandra was outgoing, always smiling, and appeared to be friendly. She claimed to have known Zainab's father for years and immediately struck up a conversation with her. At first, Zainab was grateful to meet someone who seemed genuinely interested in her. Sandra invited her out to parties and social events, making Zainab feel like she finally belonged in her new life. But over time, Zainab began to notice something troubling. Sandra often asked for favors, and when Zainab didn't have anything to offer, the friendship seemed to fade. Sandra would cancel plans or make excuses when Zainab tried to reach out. It was clear that Sandra's interest was based more on Zainab's wealth than on a true connection. Zainab was heartbroken. She had been so desperate for a friend, but all she had found was another false relationship built on money. Zainab's world took another turn when she met Ao. He was unlike anyone she had ever met, humble, down-to-earth, and full of dreams. Ao was the son of a local shopkeeper and worked hard to support his family. Zainab had seen him around the city before, but they had never really spoken. One afternoon, as she wandered the streets feeling lonely, she ran into him at a local cafe. Ao struck up a conversation, and they instantly connected. Unlike the people she had met at her father's parties, Ao didn't care about her wealth. He wasn't interested in what she could give him. He was simply interested in her as a person. They talked for hours about their dreams, their struggles, and their lives. Zainab felt a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. For the first time since arriving at her father's mansion, she felt seen and valued. As Zainab spent more time with Ao, she began to see the world through his eyes. He didn't have the luxuries she now took for granted, but he had something more important: happiness. Ao worked hard every day, but he was content with his life. His family was close-knit, and they supported each other in everything they did. Zainab admired his strength and resilience. He had faced many struggles, but he never let them break him. Ao told her stories about his dreams of going to university and starting his own business. He was ambitious, but his ambition wasn't fueled by the desire for wealth, it was driven by a desire to improve his life and the lives of those he loved. Zainab began to question her own motivations. Was she truly happy? Or was she just living a life of luxury without purpose? The more time Zainab spent with Ao, the more she realized how different he was from the people in her father's circle. He didn't care about the fancy cars or designer clothes. He cared about making a difference and living a meaningful life. Zainab found herself drawn to him in a way she had never felt before. As they spent more time together, their friendship blossomed. Ao would take Zainab on walks through the city, showing her places she had never noticed before. They visited local markets, talked to street vendors, and spent hours simply enjoying each other's company. Zainab found herself laughing more and feeling less lonely. For the first time since arriving at her father's mansion, she felt like she was truly living. Despite the joy she felt when she was with Ao, Zainab couldn't help but feel conflicted. She had everything she had ever wanted: money, luxury, and security. Yet, she had never felt more lost. Ao, on the other hand, had little material wealth but seemed to have everything she lacked: peace, contentment, and genuine happiness. Zainab began to question everything. Was she truly happy in her father's mansion, surrounded by wealth? Or was it all just an illusion? She thought about the loneliness she had felt in the mansion, the false friendships she had formed, and the emptiness that filled her heart despite all the material possessions. Ao made her realize that wealth wasn't everything. But the more she thought about it, the more confused she became. Could she really let go of the life she had always dreamed of? As Zainab's friendship with Ao deepened, she found herself questioning her life. She had come to the city with dreams of wealth and success, but now she was beginning to realize that those dreams hadn't brought her the happiness she had hoped for. Ao, with his humble background, had something far more valuable than any amount of money could buy: genuine happiness. Zainab's heart began to change. She no longer cared about the luxuries her father's wealth provided. She wanted something more: a life filled with purpose, love, and true connections. She had spent so much time focusing on material wealth that she had forgotten what truly mattered. The more she spent time with Ao, the more she realized that money was not the key to happiness. It was love, kindness, and the simple joys of life that made life worth living. Zainab knew that her life would never be the same again. She had learned that wealth could not buy happiness, and that true happiness came from within. She decided to pursue a new path, one that was focused on love, connection, and purpose. She spent more time with Ao, who continued to inspire her with his humble yet ambitious spirit. Together, they dreamed of building a better future, one that wasn't centered around material wealth but around making a positive impact on the world around them. Zainab knew that she had a long way to go, but she was ready to take the first step. Zainab's perspective on her father and his mansion began to shift. Once a symbol of emptiness, the mansion now felt like a home, because Zainab had found purpose, love, and connection. She began to spend more time with her father, who, despite his political life, had learned the value of true happiness. The mansion was no longer just a place filled with luxury and wealth. It became a place where Zainab and her father shared meaningful moments, where they laughed and talked about life, where they began to heal together. Zainab realized that, though money could not buy happiness, it could provide the resources to create a better world, and that was something her family could now use for good. Zainab had always struggled with her past, the poverty and hardship she had faced before entering her father's world of wealth. But now, she understood that her past was not something to be ashamed of, it had shaped who she was. She no longer saw her background as a barrier to her happiness, but as the foundation of her strength. She reached out to old friends from her childhood, reconnected with people from her community, and shared her story of transformation. She wanted to inspire others, especially those who felt trapped in their circumstances, to believe that their future was not limited by their past. Zainab had found peace with herself, and that peace came from embracing all parts of her life, both the rich and the humble. Zainab and Ayo's relationship blossomed as they worked side by side on their project. Their love for each other deepened, not because of wealth or status, but because of their shared values and commitments to making a positive impact. They supported each other's dreams and were always there for each other through thick and thin. Ayo's dreams of going to university were realized when Zainab helped him secure a scholarship for his studies. Zainab, too, found her own path to success, using her platform to champion social causes and continue the work they had started together. They were partners not only in love but also in a shared mission to bring about change. They had both discovered that love wasn't about money, it was about trust, respect, and a common purpose. Years passed, and Zainab and Ayo's efforts continued to bear fruit. Their project grew, helping more children, and their relationship flourished. Zainab had finally found the happiness she had always longed for, and it wasn't because of her wealth, it was because of the love and purpose she had found in her life. She had come a long way from the lonely girl in the mansion, searching for meaning in material possessions. Now, she was a woman who had discovered that true wealth lay in the connections she made, the lives she touched, and the love she shared. As she stood beside Ayo, looking out at the horizon, Zainab knew that she had found the greatest gift of all, the understanding that happiness was not something you could buy, but something you had to earn, through love, hard work, and living with purpose. And with that, she embraced a new beginning, one that was filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities.